So we're going to take some time today and we're going to review what you've already seen and used with exponents. If you want to print out the PDF that I attached to this assignment, that's the blank note. You can print it out and you can write on it. Or if you just want to get a piece of paper out and jot down some things as I say them and jot down the examples, you can do that too. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is review what an exponent means. So this is read 5 to the third power, and exponents are repeated multiplication. So 5 to the third power is 5 times 5 times 5, and that is called expanded form. Okay, the large number, that's your base. We're going to use that term quite a lot. And the little number, the 3, that is called the exponent. Okay, so we could read this as 5 to the third power. You might see 5 raised to the power of 3. And since it's the third, and we've talked about this, we could say that that is 5 cubed. Okay? All of that was stuff you already knew about exponents. Now let's review some more. Okay, so the next part says to take these and write in expanded form. That just means to write them as repeated multiplication. So 5 squared is 5 times 5. 5 multiplied times itself twice. 2 to the 5th means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 2 times itself 5 times. 4 to the third is 4 times 4 times 4. That's a times there. And then x to the fourth is x times itself 4 times. Okay, so writing in an expanded form is just writing it out times itself that many times. Now, evaluating, this is a word that confuses some people. Evaluating means to work it out, do what it says. Okay, so you can do a couple of things. You can multiply in your head over and over, or you can use your calculator. If you have your TI calculator at home, you're going to use that power key. That is above the x squared key to the upper left of the 7. And so 2 to the 5th, you would do 2, arrow key, 5, and then hit your equal sign. If you don't have your TI calculator at home, go to desmos.com/scientific, desmos.com/scientific, and there's a key in the lower left part. That's the A to the B key, okay? So 2 to the 5th would be 2, then you'd hit that A to the B, and then 5. If we need help going over any of that, I will do that in our Zoom session, okay? So when we evaluate 5 squared, that's 5 times 5. Hopefully we don't need a calculator for that. That is 25. When we evaluate 2 to the 5th, I'm using my TI calculator. So 2, arrow, 5 equals, and that is 32. 4 to the third, some of you already know that one. We've done some cubes before. That's 64. X to the fourth, if I don't know what x is, I can't do anything with that. So I will just leave that as x to the fourth. Okay, maybe one of the most confusing parts of exponents, or things that will lead to incorrect answers, is when there are negatives involved, okay? And basically, you need to know, is that negative not in parentheses, or is it in parentheses, okay? So over here, the negative is not in parentheses. There are no parentheses around the -7. So if it's not in parentheses, you write the negative. Oops, hold on a second. All right, I don't know what happened to my pen there. So you write the negative once, okay? So if you see number 1 here, that is -5 squared, but the negative is not in parentheses. So you're going to say negative 5 times 5. I only wrote it one time, and I get -25, okay? If it is in parentheses, like over here, you write it every time. You write the negative every time, okay? So negative 5 in parentheses squared, this is in parentheses, you write it every time. So this is negative 5 times negative 5. Well, negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25. So notice on these, it made a difference in the sign of my answer, okay? So up here, we didn't work this out, but the negative 7 squared and the negative is not in parentheses, you write it one time. So negative 7 times 7, and we get negative 49. Over here, the negative is in parentheses, so I write it every time. Negative 7 times negative 7, and I get positive 49. Notice it made a difference in the sign of my answer. Now, let's look at this next one. Number 3, it's a negative 4 cubed, but the negative is not in parentheses, right? There's no parentheses around the negative 4. If it's not in parentheses, I write the negative one time. So this is going to be negative 4 times 4 times 4. You can do that in your calculator, or you may already know that, and that's going to be negative 64, okay? But number 4, notice the negative is in parentheses, and that the negative is in parentheses, you write it every time. So negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. Well, this is also negative 64. So notice here, you got the same sign, but on these others that we did, the signs were different. So I want you to think about that a little bit. Why would these have different signs, but these have the same sign when we're using two different rules? Okay, just think about that. We'll talk about that in our Zoom session. What I want you to do, I have attached a few practice problems called video practice. You can print them out and you can work on that paper, or you can just get a piece of notebook paper and try them. See what you can do. We will go over those problems in our Zoom session. I will see you then.